What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to get back to work on the 49 chassis, and my plans are just to slap some of that black chassis paint on it and seal off some of that rust so it doesn't keep flash rusting and stuff. So yep, today we're just gonna, I guess, go through. I am gonna take off some of the old master cylinder setup that was on there, which will just unbolt. It's easy to come off. And then I'm just gonna start slapping paint on these rails to seal them up and prepare for the rear suspension that should be here super soon. It's en route actually right now, so I think in a couple days or so we'll have it here to show you guys the setup. So yep, today we're just gonna, like I said, seal up some of this old steel and make it just look better. You know, once you get the paint on there, it'll look fresh. So let's get to it. So yeah, a couple of bolts mount this master cylinder on. As you guys can see, it's all original 1949 technology, which is nowadays it's just not safe. I know there's a lot of guys out there running their original stuff, but I'm good on four-wheel drum brakes and single pop master cylinders. That just does not equal safety to me when you got 400 horsepower drivetrain in it. So we're gonna go ahead and not use any of this. Just like that, it unbolts. Yeah, look at that old thing. The pedal assembly on it and everything. So yep, that's going bye-bye. So yeah, like I said in the last video, you can see this body mount and full transmission cross member, which is all original to the 49. For now, I'm gonna leave it in here because it's riveted in and it's all one piece, but it's very structural to this chassis. And I'm just gonna come in here with a new transmission cross member that mounts above the frame rail, where this is all mounted below the frame rail, which won't let the chassis totally lay out without hitting it. So we're just gonna come in here and mount a new transmission cross member about right here, and it's just gonna run straight up and perfectly underneath the trans, and then over to the other side, which will get us up and out from underneath the frame rail where the frame can sit all the way down against the ground, and it'll eliminate all this original stuff. And obviously you can see where somebody in the past just hacked this thing, because they did a motor swap on this thing before, and they just hacked the original transmission cross member anyways and stuck this terrible just square stock across here, which just looks awful and would never leave something looking like that. But it's actually holding up the trans for now, so kind of glad it's there, but it's going away too, because this is all just crap you don't need, or I'm not gonna need. But for now, we're gonna leave all this in place, and I'm just gonna paint right around everything. It's not gonna get tore out, and we'll just, like I said, clean up all the frame rails and paint those all the way back. Get all this freshly painted. And after I end up installing the rear suspension back here, then shortly after that, I'm gonna do the transmission cross member in here and get the angle right on the transmission and the rear diff and get everything lined up correctly. That's why I'm holding off for now on doing the transmission cross member, because I want to get the rear suspension put in it and get the differential set up, and just kind of lightly bolt in or whatever position my differential in here so we can check drive shaft angles for when it articulates up and down with the airbags, and so I can get like a happy medium when I'm at drive height. So all that has to kind of come together at the same time before we can go ahead and burn in a transmission crossmember, because I want to make sure that the drive line is at the right level and angle and everything where it needs to be. I just don't want to have to make any work for myself later when we go to put the drive shaft in. I want to be able to make it as easy as possible to get the correct angles for the drive line, so we don't get any drive line vibration. So now we're just gonna, I guess, get into painting it, which I'm not gonna bore you guys with every second of me painting this thing. So I'll just do a quick some speed shots of it and kind of give you an update as I go. So let's get into it. So we got the whole top side of the chassis painted, every nook and cranny of the top. We got some of that chassis paint in. I'm gonna go ahead and let the top coat, the top side of the chassis dry, and then we're gonna hit it up again tomorrow, where I'm gonna hook up the back of the chassis up to the engine hoist and raise it way up in the air so I can get to the underside of the chassis, which makes it way easier. I didn't want to try to do it all in one day just because it'll end up getting into my fresh paint and boogering it up. So yep, that's the plan, is gonna call it good for today, which it looks way better. I'll turn you guys around and show you what I got done. If you guys are wondering what I'm using for paint for the chassis, it's called Chassis Saver. That's it right there, antique satin black, and paint directly over rust. It says must top coat for exposure to direct UV, but I'm not worried about that because this chassis is never going to have any direct UV on it. But that's it, stick it to rust, Chassis Saver, if you guys were wondering. And also, if you guys were wondering why I wasn't spraying it on, it's just because it makes so much more of a mess. But this stuff literally says and tells you you can put it on with a brush, and it flows out so nicely that you don't see brush marks. So it works really, really well. So if you're wondering why I'm brushing it, that's why. Most people I know are going to be like, well, why didn't you spray it? You're going to see brush marks, you'll see junk in it, but you really don't. And I'll show you guys tomorrow after it dries how nice of a surface it leaves, even brushing it on. But you can spray this stuff. You can dilute it and spray it as well. But like I said, that makes a huge mess. And it's just easier to control it with a brush. Yeah, you guys can see it's all blacked out now. It looks 10 times better. Nice satin black, smooth frame rails. As you can see, like I said, I'm gonna get underneath in the whole bottom of the chassis tomorrow. I can raise it up in the air and all this will be dry. But man, it's already looking 10 times better than it was. I love seeing fresh paint on the project. Just cleans it up that much more. But yeah, look at that. Looks good. I love the finish on that chassis paint, satin black. It just makes it give it that OE finish. But yeah, it looks good. I'm happy with it. And like I said, we'll get the chassis raised up quite a bit tomorrow, and it'll be super easy to get underneath the frame rails all the way up and back. So that's gonna do it for today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. What up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is gonna be the second day of working on the 49 Chevy chassis, and in this video we're just gonna continue doing the paint. Yesterday we got the top side painted, and today we're gonna do the underside. I just didn't want to do the whole thing all at once because I always end up getting into the paint and putting my fingerprints in it or whatever when you try to do the whole thing at once. So now that the top is dry, we'll be able to go back in and easily do the underneath real quick. And I don't have to worry about, you know, getting that black chassis paint on me because that stuff's like impossible to get off your skin once you put it on. So let me get you guys turned around and show you an up close shot of it. Yeah, definitely happy with the outcome. I mean, the chassis is not perfect and you can see some rough areas here and there, but that's just from the age of the chassis. It's nice and solid, like I said before, but it's not gonna be that perfectly smooth finish. Like, I'm not gonna take it to the point where I grind it all down, put Bondo on it, make sure it's perfectly smooth like a show car. That's just not gonna be this kind of car. This thing's gonna be a driver, a cruiser, and as long as it's safe and thick and sturdy, that's all I care about. And it just looks so much better with all that satin black all over it. Definitely cleaned it up quite a bit. And now we can start moving forward on the rear suspension. You know, obviously after we get the underside painted and let that dry, but in the next video, we will be tackling that rear suspension, or at least starting the setup of it. But yeah, I'm super pumped about getting this all cleaned up. So all the way front to back now is all nice and painted and clean. Just looks so much better. And overall, it's a nice chassis for being the age that it is. I'm definitely happy with it. And just looking forward to moving on past this point. So we are gonna get moving on getting that underside painted. So let's just get into it. So you guys probably just saw in that last shot, these cardboard boxes sitting here. Yeah, guess what that is. Yep, super excited to get that opened up. And if you guys don't know what that is, that's the rear suspension for this bad boy. So it came in the mail today. Super pumped about opening it up and looking at it, but I'm gonna leave that for the next video. So you guys stay tuned, where I'm gonna tear that thing open and we're gonna lay it out and I'll show you what I got, and we'll see what we're in for the install on that thing. So stay tuned on that. So there it is. We got the frame all painted up, top, bottom, every nook and cranny. I made sure I went over the old stuff that I already painted. I put a second coat on that. We did 2 coats on everything back here, and it looks great. I'm happy with it. And just looking forward to getting beyond this point and getting back to doing some install and fabrication on this rear suspension, which I told you guys over here that we got in the mail. But you're gonna have to wait for that on the next video because I'm just kind of getting the paint on the chassis this time and getting my head wrapped around the rear suspension setup. But yeah, stay tuned and we'll go over everything in the kit that's gonna be getting hung on here real soon. we're actually going to start the install on the next video because that's where we're at with the process. We're ready to go. So there's going to be some cutting and welding and setting that up. I got my differential over there that we got to get underneath it and start lining up and mocking up and just getting everything in place. But yeah, definitely happy to have the frame rails all cleaned up and fresh painted. Turned out great. I like the satin finish. I don't really like high gloss black on anything on my cars. I like the satin look. That's basically what the theme's going to be like underneath the hood. That's why I went with a lot of black satin on the motor. And everything else around the engine is going to be in black satin as well. So it's going to kind of have that OE look. So I just want everything to kind of have that look. Clean, simple. And it's not going to be a fancy show car. It's going to be a driver and a cruiser. So yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. Finally happy to get this all done. And I can't wait to get to installing the suspension kit back here. It's going to be exciting. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hope you guys liked the video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Let me know if you guys are liking the content. Drop me some comments on what you're thinking about the project and where it's at. And just make sure that you guys, if you're just finding this video and channel, please subscribe. I really appreciate all the subscribers and support that I've had from everybody so far. It's really encouraging me to do more videos and put out more content. So make sure that you guys support the channel, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.